Hello, peace be with you. Starting, as I said in the previous program, a series around who is fool. Who is fooled and in which way we have to understand some of the issues in our contemporary societies. Today, in this second program, I want to speak about the multiple faces of Islamophobia. You know that in many countries around the world, and especially in the West, they are not accepting, even acknowledging the fact that there is something called Islamophobia. Say, you know, Islamophobia is to be scared of, so I can be scared of Islam. But when we speak about homophobia, it's clear that we are not talking about being scared of homosexuals. It means that there is something which is a rejection, an attack on homosexual for the only reason that they are homosexual. So it's really a kind of racism. So when we are talking about Islamophobia, what we mean and what we understand is to attack and to reject and to stigmatize Muslims for the sole reason that they are Muslims. So the only reason is who you are, not what you do, because we can be critical about what you are doing and some of your principles we don't agree with. That's fine, that's not a problem. But when we are talking about rejecting somebody for the only reason of who she or he is, who he or she is, this is something which is, of course, what we call a new type of racism anti-Muslim. This is what we are talking about. And we have to look at it in a very thorough way, because very often we are fooled by the surface or the superficial understanding or the superficial support of some of our fellow citizens in the West or in Muslim majority countries. So let me start with a kind of typology of Islamophobia and understanding which categories do we have. So the first and the most well-known category is xenophobic Islamophobia, meaning that you have people in the West thinking that Islam per se, because of its values or its rituals or some of the system in itself, the reference in itself, it's not a Western reference, it's connected or it has to be related to migration or immigration. So it's not a Western religion, it's a foreign religion, and per se it cannot integrate within the European or the Western cultures. So this understanding is the more widespread understanding of Islamophobia, when you have this perception that, they are foreigners, whatever is their situation, they can be citizens, but still, because they are Muslims, they are not truly citizens and they have this double loyalty. They are with us on a civil dimension, but they are not among us on the cultural dimension or the religious dimension. So this is well known, and we have this, and it's important to remember this, because we are facing today in Europe or in the United States of America, even now in Canada, in Eastern Europe as well, you have this type of the far-right parties that are nurturing this type of xenophobic Islamophobia. But you also have another Islamophobia, which is a social and economic Islamophobia, which is that, in fact, because you are a citizen and because you are a Muslim citizen, you don't get the same rights when it comes to housing, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to promotion, when it comes to salary, when it comes to the reality of your daily life as a citizen in a society where you are a resident, when you are a citizen and you are facing discrimination day in, day out because of your belonging to Islam. And you have some political parties, and mainly on the left-hand side of the political spectrum, supporting Muslim by saying, we are with you for that. And this is where you have this label, so Islamo-leftists, the people who are supporting Muslims to get their rights, within the society. And it's important because within this trend, you also have another type of Islamophobia. I will come to it later. But here we have this type of Islamophobia, and it's important to know it's at all levels. It could be, with the more modest backgrounds within the society, and it could be for doctors and physicians and engineers are facing this type of discrimination, so it's known as well. So this is social economic Islamophobia. You have political Islamophobia. When it comes to citizens or in Muslim majority countries or in the West expressing political views, it's as if because of Islam, because the idea that Islam is connected to political involvement, and this means Islamism, and this means political Islam, and political Islam means radicalism, that when you express a political view and you are critical towards a Muslim, a government in Muslim majority countries, or your own government in Britain or in the United States or in the West, because you are Muslim, your political views are considered as, it might be that he is expressing something which is political Islam. So he's politicizing Islam or Islamizing his political views. And this is where you are not trusted in what you say. So there is a sense that, double loyalty, double speech, double discourse, that we have to be scared. So this type of, suspicion that we have as Muslim citizens is there. So this is a type of Islamophobia which is important, that we have to remember, that we have to face, and that we have to consider, and not to be fooled by, a discourse that is saying, you know what, you are citizens, you are among us, you belong to us, but still the suspicion, the meta-discourse, meta-political discourse that you have is just showing that it's not the case. That's not true. You are not saying the truth, and there is here a sense that our political discourse is the legitimate because our Muslim belonging, or because you are perceived as Muslims. And you have another type of Islamophobia, and it's a subtle one, and we have to consider it, and we can see it now in many Western countries, which is a moral and religious Islamophobia. Meaning that you have some people, and as I said, leftists, and people who are with us and they are ready to struggle and to fight and to strive with Muslims in the name of social rights, in the name of economic rights, in the name of equal status within the society. But when it comes to morality, when it comes to religious principles, no, they don't like this. So they are ready to support the social fight, but they don't like our moral commitment and our principles. And you can see that I faced this for many years, dealing with some on the left-hand side of the political spectrum. As I said, people will say, yes, we are with you, but you know what, your morality and the way you look at family and the way you look at the relationship between men and women and the way you educate your kids, we don't like it. And your way of dealing with modesty, yes, we are supporting the right for women to wear the headscarf, but still we don't like it. And we don't really like the fact that you prevent yourself from not drinking alcohol. So there is here something which is, okay, we are ready to support. And it's as if in order to support or to be supported on the social side, on the social activism, on the political and economic activism, you have to accept a kind of moral disintegration. So a social integration or a moral disintegration in the name of social integration. And you can see that this is problematic. This is problematic because it's subtle. People who are supporting you on the external side of your social presence don't like the intimate side of your moral identity. So we have to get this, because this is something which is very serious, and we have to take a stance on this. If not, it's going to destroy everything which has to do with our principles, our morality, and our moral identity and spiritual identity even. So this is one type of Islamophobia that we have to consider. The other type of it's the Islamophobia coming from ex-Muslims. There is something which is kind of an obsession with some ex-Muslims. Okay, you were a Muslim, you are no longer a Muslim, that's fine. Go your way and decide for yourself your life. Why are you obsessed to promote a discourse criticizing Islam and criticizing Muslims and principles and rights and what is it all about? This obsession means that there is something which is not right with your own decision. This discourse coming from ex-Muslims is nurtured and instrumentalized by people saying, and they themselves are saying, we were Muslims, so we know better than anyone else what Islam is all about and what Muslims believe. So we are able to say what should be said and to criticize in the wrong way. So it's, in the right way, meaning that as we were one of them, now we can reveal what the Muslims don't say or what is hidden within this religion. And say, okay, you are ex-Muslims. Instead of telling us who you were, ex-Muslim, tell us who you are now and forget about this ex. Tell us who you are now in order for us to know in which way we have to deal with you. That's fine. And just go your way and decide for yourself. There is a last type of Islamophobia, which is Islamophobia coming from Muslim majority countries, states, and Muslims themselves. And you can see that in some Muslim majority countries, there is this way of nurturing kind of, when you are a committed or a practicing Muslim and you are promoting social and you are involved in social dynamics, social movement and promoting justice and transparency and political rights, the state is going to say, these Muslims are too much committed, and there is something which in there is political discourse which is coming from Islam. So this kind of Islamophobia is even to monitor those who are praying, those who are expressing themselves, and to put them all in the same category, which is, it's Islam, yes, but these are two traditionalists, two orthodox, which is not a word coming from our tradition, too radical in a way they are dealing with religion. And you also have on the individual ground some Muslims, because they want to show that they are open-minded, that they are moderate, that they are ready to deal with the society, who are ready to criticize Muslims and Islam, some of the values, some of the criticism, even some of the verses, by saying we have to remove this verse from the Quran, we have to criticize this ritual. For example, say, okay, in the name of their ambition sometimes, in the name of their cowardice sometimes, in the name of trying to deal with the surrounding society and to show how moderate they are nurturing an Islamophobic discourse. And this is Islamophobia coming from Muslims themselves. So if you look at the whole picture, we have many faces for Islamophobia. Some are more subtle than the others. And we need to get this and to understand in which way it works within our societies. And once again, not only in the West, in African country. You have this in so many African countries, in the Middle East, in Asian countries, and in the West as well. So once again, my advice as a conclusion in this discussion is just to say, we have to claim and we have to be clear on all the faces and all the aspects of our spiritual identity. Yes, we are Muslim. We are at the same time citizens, and we have a spiritual background. We have principles. We have a moral reference. We have rituals, and this is who we are. So to be clear on our identity, at the same time, what our identity as Muslims is translating as to our social presence, our political commitment, our economic activity, and the way we deal with our societies. So we want to respect our principles if we decide so. You are not right by coming and trying in this way to impose onto us the reality of changing our religion, changing our principles, and changing our faith. So this claim, this assertiveness in who we are, what we believe in, is essential. If not, we are going to be destroyed, not only from outside, but from within, which is happening now. We can see this in many, many occurrences, many, many social situations and political involvement. So that's important. And then to say to this xenophobic Islamophobia, we are at home in the West. We are Western Muslims. And stop, period. So this is the point where we have to be clear about our belonging to our societies wherever we are, because as soon as you have citizens and residents in a society, it makes this society integrating, by definition, the religions of the people. So Islam is a Western religion, is an Asian religion, is an African religion. It's a universal religion, and we have to acknowledge this. And then by saying this, we say we have the same rights as our fellow citizens. We have the same social rights. We have the same rights for jobs and promotion and salary, and we are going to fight for these rights with all those who are ready to fight with us for our rights. That's our presence, and not only for ourselves, but this is for the well-being of all, because when you struggle against injustice, you don't struggle only for yourself, we struggle for justice for all the citizens and all the residents within the society. And this is also something which is important. And as citizens, we have the right to express politically our views on anything from school to morality to justice to international affairs. And this is and don't try to suspect or to promote this suspicion about our commitment and double loyalty. You did it before with the Jews in the West and in Europe, that they had double loyalty. We know this type of racism and xenophobia that is part of the Western history. We are not going to accept this because our political views are our political views, and they are legitimate as long as we are clear about the fact that we are supporting justice, we are supporting democratic transparency, we are supporting rule of law. This is what we are promoting. And at the same time, to all these people who are perceived as Islamo-leftists, who are supporting Islam on the social ground, on the economic ground, and saying, you have the same rights and we are against any type of discrimination. So we also have to tell them, no, that's fine, but you also have to accept our moral reference, our principles, and the fact that in the name of a common struggle for social justice, we are not going to accept the type of disintegration and destroying our moral values in the name of what you are expecting, or because you are expecting this from us. Which means that, oh yes, you like Muslims when it comes to their weight within the social dynamics, because they can vote, they can be elected, and they can elect, but you don't really like their morality. You don't like their. So we are saying, no, you will have to accept this. This is part of us, and we are not going to forget about it. We are not going to minimize it. We are not going to neglect it. This is part of our identity and our full identity. Of course, we are ready to discuss. We are ready to be critical about some of the non-understood principles, and that's fine, but not at the price of our spirituality, our morality, and our values. And to the ex-Muslims, okay, go your way and that's fine. We are not going to do anything against you, and do whatever you want to do, but your obsession is saying much more about yourself than about Islam. Your obsession is revealing something which is a psychological unbalanced reality. We are not going to deal with this. That's your job. That's your business. And it's none of our business. And the last thing which is also important is to say to Islamophobia coming from within the Muslim majority countries that we are witnesses to our fellow Muslims as well, that our aim is to promote justice, transparency, and to be committed to our religion doesn't mean that we are judging the others. Do whatever you want. But as for us, we should be a voice of transparency, of dignity, of justice, and common humanity. This is our way of dealing with Islamophobia. And we know the fronts, we know the faces. We are going to struggle to get our rights respected, our identity dignified, and our presence respectfully dealt with, without being fooled by this appearance of acceptance, while deep down there is something which is a subtle rejection.